Yeah.
2 minutes to. I'm
What
starting
start
the
the
live
program?
just because I know we have quite a few readers today. So,
Yeah, it's just, and whenever it comes in, you can splice it in.
mhm.
So, you know, come down. Muti, how much time? Sorry. Okay, I'm just talking to Jamir here.
Okay, we're waiting for Thea, Vilma, Cassie,
Yes.
Frank.
All
I
right,
think it's
log in
Frank.
now. Yeah, Vish. How much time we have? 15 minutes?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yeah, that'll be fine. Yeah, thanks. Not an hour though. um, remember, you controlling this interview. I hope. Okay, let me see if she's
Easy.
in now. Um, goes into
All
Miss
right, so I
Humid.
text Frank on what Facebook Messenger.
Where does she come from? I don't know how much I'll get through, but we'll see now.
Yeah.
So
Said
at
he
least I'm in
coming in,
good.
Miss him.
Yeah. Okay. And that was 1 o'clock.
Okay,
Good. We
I
have
will
seen
get
Jamil.
started. No, I didn't. Let me go back to Messenger. Does anyone have his number directly?
Yeah, Gush, I just spoke to him on the phone.
I know.
Okay.
Says he's coming in, but we could always
All right.
go on and
You could
pick up with
you
him
could s-
later.
you could start and fit in the interview afterwards.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
because
So,
I really want to hear Cynthia.
all righty. So, okay, so let me get this off then. Leave a mess. Yeah. Off my driver, and we're gonna start recording 1 minute. Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Poetry and Prose. It is the 9th of November, 2025, and this is our Author of the Month meeting. Our wonderful, beautiful Heather Latu Ferguson will be hosting for us today. So I'm going to hand her right over because we have a full program. Heather, thank you so much for chairing our meeting today.
Always pleased to be here, Gershia, and welcome everyone. We'll go right into our readings, and then we will do our interview with Vishnu and Jamir a little bit later on. So our first reader is Cynthia. Cynthia, are you all set? You can proceed with your reading.
Sure, will do.
Okay, that's great.
The pitch remembers. Barefoot we return. We return barefoot to the yard where the zinc remembers rain. The mango leans across the fence like an old aunt. And the sea keeps licking rust from our buckets, as if salt could sweeten a promise. We return barefoot to roads patched with elections, red flags, yellow flags, the same dust. Loudspeakers count our names, then miscount the bread. Our children search the cushions for lunch money, find only bus tickets and the scent of cold doubles. Each mega project is a seed thrown to sea. The harvest returns as convoys, dark windows reflecting our faces back to ourselves. I call my child. No, I call every child who learned to spell debt before river, before rain. Little flame, return to your book, but the headlines are kites cut loose, and the string burns our hands. They replanted the cane with promises, sold the cocoa to a ledger, asked the pitch to mend their story. Carinese fields still whisper with cutlass ghosts. They drew borders around the treasury with our patience, our pensions, our prayers. Yet the wind still carries your name, Trinidad, and yours, Tobago. And the pitch remembers a steel before speech. We were pan before platform, market song, and tassadrum, and we were not born for the line at the licensing office of favors. They build their towers with our overtime, wall their gardens with our afternoons. But a child still opens a window in Moruga, and the sea enters to wash her feet. A grandmother in Charlottesville hums, and the reef rises like scripture. Barefoot we return. The road home cheaper than despair. We return barefoot to count with the old arithmetic, yam, breadfruit, the shadow of a bread line, a receipt that will not turn into water. We say, do not steal the river twice, first with a contract, then with a silence. After the sea's question, account for stadiums of paper, ministries of maybe, promises salted and hung to dry. Name every ghost job by its payslip. Let the ledgers learn our language. Cocoa, child, clinic, book. And if they do not learn, the pitch lake will remember how to refuse them. The mangroves will write affidavits in their roots. And the pitch remembers, the pitch remembers. We were island and salt and song, and not the small change in anyone's pocket. We return barefoot because the road home is cheaper than despair. We return barefoot because the sea, patient auditor, keeps asking its only question, where did the money go? And the sand answers with tiny ledgers of light, line after line, until the tide erases the lie. One day a child will walk through their figures barefoot, and the mortar of speeches will forget how to hold. A door will open in a yellowed file, and wind will turn the page. The islands will say their names out loud, and it will be enough to begin again. I was extremely happy to be asked to read this poem, and I congratulate Mr. Nadir on his book. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Cynthia. We will take comments after the everybody reads. We've got so many readers today. So should we move right along now to the interview between Vishnu and Jamir?
Yeah,
Did you
sure.
get?
Yeah.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Hello,
Hello?
Nazir there. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Nazir,
Yep.
I could call it Nazir, okay?
Or Jamir. Jamir is my first name.
Jamir.
Yeah.
Jamir. Tell me something that I understand you were in communication at one time.
And
Communication.
communication.
How come you're able to
Um,
make this switch from... Okay, tell us about your
yeah.
communication into poetry.
Well, I did have some roles in communication in the private sector when I was at Guardian Holdings and then some again in a position where I was the CEO in a Suriname financial company. So I had taken that function specifically as well. And in that particular role, it was important how you package and present your message for whatever issue you were dealing with. And for me, I've found it's the same thing with poetry. You have an idea in your head and you want to express it. So, what I do usually, I craft a skeletal structure of what the idea is I want to get across. And then I start to build a structure with it, and then I populate that with words. And therefore, that's how I disseminate the message. You know, if it was a communication, it's a communication message again. You want to convey feelings and stuff to people, and that is basically how I do that. But that in itself just quickly did not create the bridge or the way I want to do poetry. I've always written since I was a little child now. But as you ask that specific question, that is how I was able to use that particular skill.
Okay. So, like, you would think that maybe in primary school or somewhere you started liking poetry, would you?
Well, no, actually, when I was, yeah, I guess, yeah. Because how the first thing happened, I remember when, my mother went to buy books for us at some point there. She got a red diary with writing in gold on top. My brother got a white. And I decided to use mine to jot down the little thoughts and stuff in my head now with regards to ideas, the poems I wanted to express. And then as I just build on that, because unfortunately, and Motilal knows this, at the time when we had to do groupings of subjects, I wanted to do literature at secondary school, but because I was a science student, I wasn't allowed to do it now. So that sort of stunted my development at the time in terms of the formal structure and all of the technical criteria that you may have associated with poetry, like somebody like Krishna would have been very well acquainted with. So I had to just write for ideas and feelings. And later on, when I got out of active employment, then I tried to study some of these things on my own to put additional structure to the poems.
So, I got the impression from the poem, from the one I would have to read, Salt and Suffering, that you travel a bit. Did you?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. I had a lot of traveling extensively. Malaysia, Sri Lanka, all over the US, Canada, UK, a lot of the Caribbean islands, etc.
No, I haven't seen your book, Night Moon Love, yet. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
But would you think, or do you think that your travels, in a sense, would have helped you to get your ideas to to form this poem, to put this poem together?
Well,
Like
yes,
if you have,
especially the non-Caribbean centered ones, right? I would have had the opportunity to interact with people in a whole in a number of situations. So that will have a factor. There's one in particular that's not among that collection that definitely had helped me, which I talked about certain things in different countries. So the ability to travel and also to get interaction with people in different countries did help to some extent.
I see something here you have been writing about your ancestral background. There are other poems about that early days, or is it contemporary? Like,
There are because my grandfather became he came sorry from India. He and his mother were
oh,
shanghaied when he was young, 10 years old,
okay.
and they
Mm,
were brought upon a ship which they thought they would have met their father. Actually, where that
mm,
is greatly depicted is a poem I had written for Prime Minister as a tribute to Prime Minister Modi in his recent
okay.
visit. So it clearly
Mm,
makes
mm,
reference to that particular subject.
okay. So I get the impression that you were writing, just writing, and this is your first collection, Night Moon Love. So
Yeah,
what
but
became of,
what became of it?
yeah, what, no, no, what became of those individual poems you were doing?
Yeah,
Like, were they published? Or?
yeah, the Night Moon Love is something I had. Like they were just basically more of the raw emotions, a lot of the structured poetry, right? I have a lot now, which, as I said, is structures, right? Like the ones you guys have. So I have different volumes, different collections with different focus and different styles. So those are in the process. I'm trying to sort those out and finalize them for publishing now. But I have so much and other material too I want to get done in terms of books. So none of those would be in that book. That book was like a pure, young, uncontaminated Jameer. No form, structure, anything, writing. But it did pretty good.
Uncontaminated. Okay.
Sorry?
Uncontaminated. Okay. I'll buy that.
Uncontaminated by structure and form and thing. That's how I like
Yes,
to
yes,
refer
yes,
to them.
yes. Okay. So were those little individual poems published or were they just staying in copybooks form? Did you get them out like, I mean, to different magazines and things?
Those really early ones just stayed with me. Those really early ones.
Oh, okay. I was just wondering, and I see I see something about you had gotten some awards for your writing and things. I was trying to narrow down into that.
Yeah. No, well, what happened is that there's a magazine in England, and all of these things are fairly more recent. I didn't have time with work and other activities to really focus on those. There's a thing called Blue Horizon where I won a competition there, and then they used the poem in a compilation, an anthology. Um,
Mm,
Also, too, not too long ago, there was a guy from India asked me they were doing a compilation for world peace
okay.
and for a magazine. And I edited that, won that too, and they published it. That is like an e-magazine, electronic only, right?
Mm,
And there were one, two other smaller things. I think now the biggest thing I'm looking forward to in terms of recognition like that, the largest Spanish speaking magazine, poetry magazine, right? With a subscription of in excess of 10 million. The editor there has accepted the poems and it was supposed to be published already to showcase me as a new author crossover. They are
mm,
entirely into Spanish, right, with English,
mm,
not the other way
mm,
around, English translated into Spanish because the poem has a different soul when you write in a particular language. When you translate, I think it does a very poor job of reflecting moods and expressions. So I'm waiting for that to be published as a kind of author highlight of me.
mm.
That should be before the end of this month.
Okay. And I suppose you're thinking of another collection sometime soon? Are you thinking of another collection sometime soon?
Yeah, no, yeah, because as I say, I have several volumes of writing now, which that's all I've
Mm,
been doing for about a
mm,
year and a half now.
mm,
So there'll be a series of books
mm.
being published, as a chain, starting maybe by the close to the end of this month.
Okay. So tell me this.
Yeah.
Um, do you read other poets or do you write on your own in your own little world kind of thing?
No,
I mean,
you as a poet, you must imbibe yourself with and enjoy the language and experiences of others, right? So I've gotten acquainted very well now with Walcott, with Dawich from Palestine. You'll see I have something there about which talks about peace and the olive trees and things. That is actually something
mm,
inspired me from him. Um,
mm,
I used to always read and still do Nurada, Pablo Nurada, Nobel Prize winner, and also Gabriela Mistral, both from Chile. And, the regular English authors like Whitman and so on that we were introduced with in the early days of, as I say, secondary school, forms 1 to 3. And so I've been Oscar Wilde, I've been picking up these things from time to time in between and trying to broaden my literary depth and really appreciate them for who they are. And of course, Shakespeare is a must.
Is there anybody in particular you want to highlight, saying that you try to model yourself with that person,
Well,
or no?
well, I did like with the Caribbean ones. My kind of mentor in spirit there is Walcott, obviously, right? Um, a lot of the love poems, especially the strong, passionate one, it has that infusion of Nurada in it to a large extent. So that's like my inspiration for those types of poems and so on.
I know Krishna likes Walcott because Krishna likes to do the hardest thing. I see you choose
I know.
Walcott too.
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
did you choose
because
Walcott?
Walcott, no, Walcott is a great, great, great writer. And I found myself early on focusing more on non-Caribbean writers in the next
Okay.
yeah, inspiration from.
Mm.
And then I thought, why it is that I never really studied to an extent Walcott's work and try and see what that created in my soul now and what I could reflect back almost as through his eyes, his lens,
Mm.
for mine through his or his through mine.
Okay. We have about a minute again left. Anything in
Sure.
particular you want to say?
Well,
And
I
as a
I don't know
passing thought?
yeah. I think that I am trying to, I think all of the poems, whatever the style and so on, I try to restore something that the world has lost, right?
Okay.
And I see these as memory, dignity, tenderness, and or love. And so when I write about Caroni, right, the Caroni plains and so on, the sea or a beloved, I'm always trying, I think, for me to bring back the soul into conversations, right? And just to end up with that, as I say, I pride myself as writing to restore memory and to protect the dignity of people. Also, I write to love because, well, this is my thing, right? Love is the very first homeland, the concept of love itself.
Okay, that's it. All right. Thank you, Samir. I mean, we could talk all the time, but we have 15 minutes. So thank you
Yes,
very
yes.
much. And yeah,
Thanks
thank you
so
very
much.
much. Yeah,
You have
yeah.
been a
Maybe next,
gracious interviewer. Thanks. Yeah, and I'm
yeah,
sure we'll talk again.
yeah, maybe next time. Yeah. Okay. Nice to having you on
Okay.
Poetry and Prose.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Heather. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vishnu and Jamir. Now we will move right along with Gersha's reading. Gersha, are you all set?
Yes, I am. I had
Oh,
to
Hold on,
take off
there we
everyone's cameras when they
hold
were
on.
interviewing. So if you'd
Gersh,
like to put back on your camera, you can.
Gersh,
Yes.
Gersh, hold on, please. Heather did say after the interview we could have comments on Cynthia's reading, and I have a couple comments.
Well, we did say we
Heather,
were going to, I actually what I meant was we were going to have comments at the end of the whole everybody's reading.
all right,
Yeah,
okay.
because we have to move through the list, move quite along. So is that okay, Gersha?
It's fine with me.
Yeah, okay. So we'll come back to you, Krishna. Just make a note of all your comments to different people.
All righty. So if anyone would like to turn on their cameras again, feel free to do so. I just wanted the system to just pick up Vishnu, the interview itself. All right. My poem, well, not my poem, poem scheduled to read, The Algorithm's Tide. The harbor glitters with a new light. not lantern, not mass, but towers of circuits humming unseen psalms. Here the world keeps vigil, each promise a code swung without voice, each silence a threat written in fire. From childhood, we were apprenticed to labor, to cane fields, to rigs, to zinc roofs, sweating at noon. Our elders teaching the catechism of work, their hands split with salt and hunger. Now another convent arrives. Not the earth, but of glass and cloud, a net dragging oceans of thought, each catch invisible yet immense. We are told it will lift us. Schools in the air, medicine in circuits, voices gathered like rain into one river. But what inheritance comes without shadow? What gift is given without chain? We married the land. What else could we do? Her moods were our bread, her rain our hymn, her cassava the sacrament of survival. But this new altar glows without soil, its priests faceless, its gospel written in tongues not ours, its promise justice, yet multiplies profit. It speaks of progress while erasing names. Is it lighthouse or empire? A blow of silence, a contract in the shadows, a cry that no one hears. Already the wind carries rumor, a factory replaced, a clerk redundant, a poet translated by machine, a song stripped of its singer. Still, the immigrant tide tugs at our sons. Still, our daughters weigh exile against a future written in code. We build our exile in place. Faces lit by blue fire, rooms humming with servers, as if pixels could replace communion, as if prayer could mend the void. The land remains our psalms, our absolution, through wrists stiffened, unused, though the gospel of work is replaced by silence, though justice mutinies. And that's the piece. Thank you for allowing me to read.
Thank you very much, Gersha. And next on the list, oh, Krishna. Here, you're next on the list. So we'll proceed with Krishna's contribution.
Right, it's Requiem for the King's Ghost. So congratulations, Jamir, on being
Thank you.
selected as Author of the Month for November 2025. Okay, so whole comments for later, right? Requiem for the King's Ghost. The factory stands mute in reform's heart, its brick bones bleached by sun and silence, its windows, hollow sockets staring at fields gone wild. The air once sugared with steam and molasses, now thick only with dust. And here the village remembers each yard a pulse, each shuttered mill a wound, each hand once bound to the blade of cane, now empty, now idle. From the dawn of its whistle and smoke, this mill was covenant, apprenticing boys to the swing of the cutlass, girls to the harvest chant, its rollers singing hymns of labor, its vats steaming like censers at vespers, the whole village breathing cane. The scent of juice spread through the night. The tang of sugar seared itself into memory, and generations bent their backs to this altar of work. Then came the silence, the decree, the gates chained, and what promise matched the hiss of steam, what progress equaled the fire of the pans at dusk. The fields themselves mourned the loss. Through their eyes, the island faltered. Politicians spoke of efficiency, of scale, their mouths varnished with logic, but the land cracked. Hunger took the place of Cain's exhalation, and the people of reform bent under the weight of a decision too clean on paper, too cruel in flesh. The village became exiled, its children scattered, its elders staring at ruins where once there was the music of industry. Now the wind carries memory, the sweet sour tang of boiling sugar, the laughter of women bent over sacks, the groans of carts leaving for the port. Now it carries silence. Stories traded like cheap fruit at day's end. And still the people plant cassava, yam, side, as if stubborn earth could heal the fracture, as if soil alone could sweeten the bitterness of loss. The garden is their psalm, their absolution. Though wrists stiffen, though backs crack like dried cane, each scar another verse, each breath a reluctant hymn. Reader, citizen, leader, child of this soil, enter these rooms. Hear the echo of rollers. Smell the ghost of juice on the air. See the rust that eats memory itself. Look into these windows. They are not merely glassless frames, but ledgers of grief, scrolls of neglect, mirrors where your own inheritance waits. And when you leave, the wind will repeat its lament, not with pity, but with the hunger of history, dragging every closure, every broken promise, every forgotten life into its hollow reframe, indifferent as the Cain's morrow, endless as the call for reform's resurrection. Thank you, Jamil. Lovely poem. Great poem.
Thank you very much, Krishna. Very well read. Now we'll move on to Motilal and his rendition of Jameer's work. Oti, are you there? Motilal?
Yes, yes.
Okay, go right ahead.
Yeah, okay, Gusha, you want to highlight me?
I'm trying.
Because
I'm
they say
trying to find you
my
though.
video is okay. Gusha, as we talking now, I think we should just take a wee bit of comments in between, so that we wouldn't lose context if we wait. I don't know.
Motilal, your video isn't on. That's why I can't highlight you.
Okay. Well, what it's saying is I cannot stand my video because it is disabled by the host.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay. Well, okay, thank you. Thank you, Jamir, for being our Port of the Month for November, and
Thank you.
thank you for giving me the opportunity to read your work. My poem is called Where the Wound Learns the Cure. In your body, the wound learns its cure. Where silence once dwelled, now water bells bloom. Your skin keeps the secrets of dew, and every kiss I leave upon it is a covenant with clarity. I need no temples, no prayers. Your breath is enough. And within it, I recognize the God who returns meaning to my steps. In your embrace, pain becomes a root of light, and all that was lost becomes beginning, or only an echo fleeing with the wind. Thank you.
You.
Thank you very much, Motilal. We will take a break after the next two readings because then we'll be halfway through and we'll make some comments on what was read so far. So right now we'll move along to Althea and we'll get her reading and then Vishnu's and then we'll have a break. Go ahead, Althea.
Okay. It's a pleasure to read the work of our guest. And the poem that I'm reading is called The Song of Arrival. My heart was a desert of fractured stone, a shoreline swallowed by a voiceless tide. I had learned to breathe in winds that carried only my name, to bear a sun that never burned. Then you came, first light brushing this wounded land. My skin, once scarred by the weight of mountains, now drinks the hush of your arrival. Dust tender as a prayer in the air. Oh, my one true harbor, my single star. You are the steady sea that at last touched my shore. My soul, once an echo lost in empty corridors, has found its dwelling in your light, and the world carries your warmth in its bones. Okay, it's an honor to do this reading.
Thank you very much, Althea. Thank you very much for that reading. And we will continue with Vishnu.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you.
So the poem I'm reading is called Salt and Suffering, a letter from Isabella. I was born of salt and suffering. Palestinian sand clung to my ankles, while Asian winds braided my hair with myths of gods who never came. My mother wept olives into her bread, and my father's silence was carved from stone once kissed by prophets. Even as a child, I learned to fold my grief like laundry, neatly, daily, without complaint. War is not a visitor in my house. It is the wall. It is the window. It is the bowl from which I drink. In Gaza, I heard the call to prayer rise through rubble like a miracle that refused to die. In Athens, I learned to hide my prayers beneath marble masks of reason. But love was my rebellion. You, my poet, were my Damascus rose in the field of thorns. I wrote your name in dust on broken tile, in the margins of books I read, by candlelight in occupied rooms. I bled for you before I ever touched you. Do you remember the night the sirens screamed and I said your name as if it were a shield? Or how I stitched verses into my blouse to carry your words across checkpoints of the soul? I am not merely woman. I am wound and wine, resistance and repose. I am the alphabet of a dying tongue, whispering your name into the void. And yet, if I could love you in a world undone, then let me, which is holier than that. What is holier than that? Thank you, Nazir. Lovely poems indeed. Enjoy reading it.
Thank you very much, Vishnu. And now we'll pause and take some comments on the work we've heard so far, and then we'll continue. Anyone want to go? Krishna, you had something to say earlier.
Heather, sorry, while we're waiting on Krishna, could I just say one slight small comment on the last poem?
Sure.
What happened is you'll find this. I actually tried to put myself and wrote in the voice of a woman there, in case people were wondering.
I saw that.
I wasn't wondering. So it's a powerful
I
poem.
wasn't wondering.
It's a powerful
Okay.
poem.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
poets do this. Okay. So what I wanted to say about Cynthia's reading. You know, sometimes, yeah, when people reading your poems, if you are listening and they botching it, they cutting it up, slicing it up, botching the reading, you cringe. But I am sure Jamil would not have been cringing when he heard Cynthia read. If he was there for the reading of Cynthia,
Yeah.
it was very, very articulate. Her rhythm suited the rhythm of the phases in the poem. Her control of the tone of voice, I really marveled at. It was, of course, well, to move to the interview, because I was wondering, having listened to Cynthia and with my poem here, I was wondering how these poems, let me see if I could get Vishnu's question, how these poems link to that book, that first book. What's the question? The question Vishnu asks. You see what happened in here, Heather? It's all over the place, and I lose it. But what the first collection, right? Question 6 from Vishnu, when he talked about the first collection, because I am not seeing these poems fitting into that title. What's the title? Jamil, help me out here. What's the title? Night Moon Love, correct?
Night Moon Love.
Night Moon Love. So when I looked at my poem, I said, how does fit in a Night Moon Love, boy? Nah. So it was reassuring to hear that was a first collection of raw emotion. That is the uncontaminated Jamil. Not just instructive and form, I suppose, might be in might be in theme as well. The content, because right, Cynthia's piece was a hard-hitting criticism of politicians. It is, um, if you give that to me, I might think twice about wanting to read this, because I don't want people to think, what I'm reading here, I espouse, I endorse. But it's a hard-hitting piece that you gave Cynthia there, and about politicians. So that's what I'm saying. It was interesting to learn that you are now writing a whole set of poems, and that you plan to have them published later, and that these poems, I don't know for the rest that people have to read, they don't fall into that first collection. They were not poems from that first collection. I don't know. Do you have any from it? It would have been nice to hear a couple.
No, none of them
It
are
would have been
there.
nice.
Those are all the new sets, but
I
maybe
know.
if we
So
have
that's what
time,
I'm
I could say,
right.
recite one.
So that we can assess now. We can put them side by side and see. Oh, that was the old Jameer, and this is the new Jameer. That
Yep.
the uncontaminated, and what is this one now? It wouldn't be the contaminated one. Anyhow, and my piece that I read, Requiem for the Kane's Ghost, that is a powerful piece. I have to say congratulations. I noticed from my piece and Gersha's piece and even Moti's piece, you have a lot of images referring to religion, the covenant, hymn, sacrament, altar, priest, right? So you're drawing a lot from that from religious imagery, and you have that heavy in this poem, the very term requiem, and then you have covenant, hymn, censers, altar, right? So you have a metaphor, and you extend the metaphor throughout the poem.
Yeah.
That is one metaphor you use. You use others. You appeal a lot to the taste, sweet sour tang of boiling sugar, sight, sound, the whistle, sight, the smoke of the chimneys. So that is good. I would say it is a powerful poem. Very good. Well put together. And you talk about reform. Well, I don't know about reform. I know about BC, Brechin Castle, and St. Madeleine, but I don't know about reform. So you are celebrating the sanctification of that estate for those who don't know of it, like myself. Okay, I will pause there and let others take over. Thank you. Thank you, Heather.
Thanks,
Heather?
Krishna.
Heather,
Now,
may I say one thing quickly?
Sure,
One thing.
sure.
Yes, when Krishna talked about my reading, this is why I'm telling you now the backstory. This is why every time I have to read something for the group, I read it before, listen to it, think about it. And that's how I'm able to give emphasis here or there and so on, So I just wanted to add that.
Can I also add, Althea, you did brilliant. I agree 100% with Krishna there. You actually gave a lot of life to the poem. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Cynthia. Any other comments?
Cynthia, sorry, Cynthia, yeah.
You're welcome.
Well, if there are no other comments, the next reader is myself, so I'll continue with The Creator's Storm. Inside me, fire starts to burn, chaos of color and sound. They ask for silence, a neat, small thing, but my words are a riot of stone. My hands tremble to make something beautiful, but my mind is a storm of noise. The page is a desert, a white, empty land, and my hand is a ship with no sail. I hold a chisel, but the stone turns to sand, and the song in my heart has turned into air. I will build a cathedral of feeling with no walls for a world that has no ears. I will sing to the sun a song of my own, a story that no one will know. They can call me a fool, a man with no art, but the storm inside me must rage. I will carve my name into the wind and throw my heart to the sea. The end. Beautiful poem, Jameer. Thank you so much for allowing me to read it.
Thank you so much.
Now, our next reader is Vilma. So we're all set to hear from Vilma.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for this opportunity. You hearing me, right?
Yes.
Okay, thanks for this opportunity to
I'm
read
good.
from Mr. Nazir's book. Welcome, Mr. Nazir, to the Poetry and Prose, and congratulations on being the author of this month. Now,
Thank you.
the title of the poem is When the Ember Remembers Its Name. Child of dawn, do not seek banners. Let your breath be your vow. Your simple standing, the hymn no temple could contain. Learn from the hill path that curls without hurry, from the rains that arrive when the dust has finished speaking, from a brook that hums through the granite until granite learns a softer word. So also your days, shed husks, take on new skin, rise as a bird rises by remembering wind. Your hours are a loom. Let ardor be the dye that runs through the threads, and offer your making without apology, for the nameless speaks in the shape of what you shape. Hold up the cup of an ordinary minute. It will pour counsel if you are still enough to drink. When you are lost, listen to the night's silver hush. There's a lantern in it. Even a speck of pollen carries a map of stars. Bend close and you will read it. Keep company with tenderness in every contest. Fight for the clear word. Just a minute. Fight for the clear word, the steady gait, not with clenched jaw, but with a measured step that hears the drum beneath all things. Soil will stand beside you. Wide blue will bear the witness. And here, in the quiet chamber of your chest, a small, steadfast spark keeps pointing east. Trust that pointer. No storm can heal it. No hand can smother it. Walk on. The end. Thank you.
Thank you, Vilma. Beautiful. Now, is Cassie here? I'm not sure I see Cassie. He would be next on the list.
I'm not seeing his name here. So
Oh.
there is someone called Zoom user. So I don't know if that's Cassie or not.
Yeah, I don't know. If not, we can proceed to Leslie Ann and come back to Cassie. Yeah.
Sure. Can Willard go in Cassie's place? Can Willard go next?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. Willard, if you're all set, you can
Okay.
proceed.
I'm actually ready to read
Thank you. Now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yes. We're just
Oh,
having you fit in.
thank you very much. Hi, good afternoon, everyone, and all protocols observed. It's a pleasure to read this, privilege to read this poem by Mr. Nazir. Special welcome to you and congratulations on your book. The poem that was chosen for me to read is entitled The Woman Who Recreated the Sea. I had forgotten the gram of light. Years of dust had settled in my veins. Then she crossed my silence, and the earth turned, remembering its tides. She spoke no word, her gaze was a sentence. Her nearness united the knots of time. Even the wind shuddered in confession, and the stones drew breath beneath her feet. From her shoulders, dawn returned, not the one that wounds, but the one that forgives. I, who had carried the burden of absence, felt the sea rise against my chest. No temple could contain such mercy. She touched the edge of my ruin and made of it a flame without shame, a music that burned but did not wound. Now I know love is not hunger, nor the salt of desire alone, but the calm after the storm, the deep breathing of two souls, finding one rhythm at last. If death should come, let it find me kneeling, not before heaven, but before her name, the name that remade the sea. The end. Thank you.
Beautiful poem, one of my favorites by far, Jamir. And thank you, Willard, for reading it.
You're welcome. Thank you for giving me the opportunity.
Now, have we determined if Cassie's here? I guess we don't know who Zoom user is, but anyway, the next on our list is Leslie Ann. So
Yes, and I'm here.
there we go. Thanks.
Good day, all. Thank you for the privilege to read this poem. When the dawn burned. The night was a wound that had stopped bleeding, and its hush, the world leaned close to listen. The earth held its ache like a secret jar of embers, and the wind bent low to drink from the silence. Then light, half afraid of its own birth, rose out of the dust and trembled like a heart. The mountains lifted their great dark shoulders, and the rivers, delirious, ran towards the sky. Fate's locked door shuddered. The boards felt like forgotten prayers. From the smallest spark of trust, the sun erupted naked and singing. I saw faith walk barefoot across the ashes, leaving footprints that glowed. Every doubt turned to smoke. Every sorrow found a mouth and sang. And the world, astonished, kneeling, remembered its first breath, remembered that wonder is not a promise, but a fire returning home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Leslie Ann.
Well, now you see
Now
who's
here,
the Zoom user. There he is.
Frank is here, yeah.
Yeah, I forgot we changed the time.
Yeah, yes. No, it's you missed an hour, I guess.
Yeah.
And actually, we'll get you to read because you're kind of next on the list.
Oh, yeah. To me, it's just 1 o'clock now.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, it's 12:57.
Well, I've got 2 o'clock. Oh
It's
yeah.
almost
Okay,
2.
you're in Ontario. Okay,
No,
yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, may I say something?
Sure.
Heather?
Yeah.
Okay, since we just going into the second hour, we have some time, so maybe we could do some discussion before we proceed.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead. If you have anything to say, any comments?
Well, when Krishna was talking about um, Cynthia's reading, and he was talking about he says he was afraid, you wouldn't like he was thinking about the politics of the situation. And one of the things in Jamir's poem there that struck me was he talked about the ministries of maybe. So I was just, thinking about the promises that the politicians make and all that, and these ministries of maybe. So that's it for now.
Well, that's a nice way of putting it, because that goes right back to even what the 50 odd years I've been in Canada. I mean, Daddy used to complain back then about the Ministry of Maybe. He could never get books, he could never get teachers. Ministry of Education wouldn't do anything for him. I guess nothing's changed.
I would like to make a comment on my piece that I read. One of the
Okay.
things that really stood out to me, it's almost like he touched on very much on AI and its impact into the arts. And I appreciated that because it's so relevant today, with AI now overtaking content creators on YouTube and even on Amazon. People are bringing out books written by AI. So personally, I wouldn't want to necessarily read a book by AI. I saw a video today of a lady saying that please don't buy me anything that's AI generated. So now something as simple as a tin where an artist would have been hired to create a picture to go on a tin of cookies, the Christmas tins. She's pointing out how we can tell that it's AI generated. So it misspelt milk. And it looks like a regular Christmas tin, but it's really kind of infiltrating all parts of media and creative media, that is.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. When I see a friend of mine has written a book using AI exclusively, and to me, it's such a fake presentation of your artistic prowess. It reminds me of looking at a bodybuilder who injects his muscles with oil and has these fake muscles, or taking steroids to create muscles. And I was once invited. I did a physical on a truck driver who is a body lifter, a weightlifter, and well, I think I can say this. When I examined his testicles were the size of a plum seed because of the steroids he was using. And then he invited me to come to the show that they were, with the bodybuilding. But why? I mean, I could put a tennis ball under my sleeve and say, look at my muscles. So I link an AI writing to a fake set of muscles. And in fact, the book I'm writing right now, I submitted a manuscript to the publisher. And it's nonfiction. It's about a certain aspect of depression. And one of their papers I had to sign with the publisher was that none of the content was generated by AI. So I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like even when I look at AI art, something about it feels unsettling to me. I don't know if anyone else feels that when they look at it. But it feels kind of like you're looking at psychedelic art sometimes. But for me, like I remember reading Misery, and a part of me enjoying a book especially when I enjoy the author. It's in the back of my head while I'm reading the story, I'm devouring the story, I'm admiring the skill of the author. He wrote a story within a story. So he literally wrote, uh, you know, a horror story. And within that horror story, the author was writing about, a romance novel. So he wrote a book within a book. And as a writer, when you're reading that, it puts a different level that I don't think I would get with AI, you know? So anyways, that's my comment.
Let me
Now,
make a quick. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
one of the things about yeah, these days in the um on the computer and Facebook and all that, they're telling you that, hey, just answer these 50 questions and we'll write an
Biography.
autobiography for you with your name and all that. And, well, of course, I don't know, but I didn't go further. But I suppose it's a course. So these things are appearing regularly, you know. So sometimes we have to be careful about what we read or what we accept. And I think it's frightening because it would stifle creativity.
I
Yes.
have found that my big thing is I try to stump AI. If you go ask a question, I already know the answer, but I'm just trying to see where is this AI coming up with this answer, and I found them to be wrong a few times.
Oh, really?
So it's something it's a medium I can't trust at the moment. I don't know if it's going to get better.
I wanted to
Go ahead,
I
jump in,
wanted to
Vishnu.
ask I wanted to ask Nazir something about the poem I read. If you could play upon it a little bit. He says, in Gaza I heard the call to pray, rise through rubble like a miracle that refused to die. Nazir,
Yeah.
if you could just tell us a little bit more about that. And then in the other line you have, in Athens, I learned to hide my prayers beneath marble mask of reason. We talking about what here?
Okay. That's the whole destruction and why you had it moved to Athens from Palestine is the person who I had spoken with, the friend I have there, is of dual parentage of Palestinian and a Greek heritage. So that's the only reason why that mention and it switched to Athens. I was trying to be faithful to the story. And what's the other thing you talk about, the call of prayer and so on coming through? Well,
Yeah, in
that
Athens,
was
I learned to hide.
sorry. It is
In
because
Athens, I learned to hide my prayers beneath marble mask of reason.
yeah.
In Athens, yeah.
Yeah. But what was the first reference there? What you was telling me, the
Yeah, I
prayer
wanted
coming through back.
to link whether we are talking about a war and
Yeah.
whether people are being
It's
stifled.
actually all of that is kind of like Dawich. All of that is about the situation in Palestine when it was worse before. We're supposed to be in a peace period, but there's still skirmishes. But yes, it is the destruction of the bombs and the wars and the slaughtering of a people, etc. So I tried to capture all of that and also to show how it is that they were still able to hold on to hope through prayers or prayer, right? So that was the problem, the reference for that. And then, as you said, I had to reflect on the heritage of the person and the Greek side, to balance and be faithful to their lineage now, both of Palestine and of Greece.
I know Martin Carter talks a lot about oppression and all that in Guyana. So I was just wondering
Right.
whether you are dipping into that kind of situation too. like Martin
Not
Gard?
really. Nah, not really. It was purely from the perspective I mentioned. And
Okay.
talking about that, I was very, very interested to listen to the comment about AI because I have two books again. They have to be finalized and published now. One is of situation with AI. There's a Israeli history professor has made it big. He wrote a book, right? Sapiens, and there's another one, and he sold 45 million copies of one. And he has become very, very critical of AI in terms of how AI would take over the world, etc. Right? But just something, if you all allow me, I want to share with the group. I cannot see that happening, at least not in my lifetime, because AI has no intelligence really. It mimics, because I have quite a good background in computers and
IT.
especially understanding the IT and the programming perspective, right? So AI just mimics, it predicts in a lot of cases what is the next word. You know, if you do like a string of words, it kind of predicts what is the most likely word next. And you are amazed because, you know, humans with the self-fulfilling prophecy and they like to look for patterns and in everything. So that's how it gets away with it so easily. Secondly, I think AI doesn't have a soul or consciousness. So it doesn't understand emotions. It cannot experience emotions. So it's very poor in trying to enlighten. So a lot of times it's very easy to pick up, especially if you like a poet or you enjoy reading poetry and stuff, you will see it. And it does a terrible job of it, right? So that's why I wanted that message. You see, whatever everybody came up with there, I wanted that message to come through. So thanks. Let me turn it over back to the chair.
I think too, a part of the experience, like I can listen to an AI sing like Mariah Carey, but a part of the experience of creativity is admiring someone's talent and skill. So AI doesn't, you can't do that with AI. You can't admire AI's talent and skill, you know, but you can look at a singer like Mariah Carey and know she's one in a million. So I think that's what they're missing when they keep pushing this AI. So that's it for me.
Wow, interesting conversation.
Someone was
Now,
trying to
maybe
jump in.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say that I haven't been on Zoom for a little while, and as we're talking on the topic of AI, I'm seeing an AI companion on Zoom. I was wondering what it, yeah, so I totally agree with everyone's comments. You know, I guess AI it's supposed to be an aid to like a server, you know. One of the positive things about it is, as Mr. Nazir said, that it doesn't have a soul or a consciousness, so it's very intensive in its approach. So, like, if one wants to do, in my own layman's point of view, one wants to do a research on a topic, AI has it gives all of its, you know, attention to that one topic. So it's useful in that way, but you're right, to seep into human living and, you know what I mean, taking over videos and so on, it's pretty false. You know, I'm seeing a lot of AI videos on YouTube, and one can tell, you know, it's not real. So I really have my concerns about that, really, you know. Okay.
thanks for your comments, Willard. Maybe we'll go back to the readings now and pick up with Frank, and you can read your piece, and then we'll have Natasha next.
Okay. So my piece is entitled The Clock That Forgot the Sun. And the scholar said, speak to us of time. And the prophet replied, You measure your days by the ticking of the clock and believe that what is numbered must also be real. But I say to you, time is the shadow of your movement, not the substance of your soul. You say it's late, and you hasten. You say I'm young, and you delay. But the soul does not count in hours. It breathes in seasons and awakens in moments beyond your calendars. Your clocks may rule your hands, but let them not rule your heart. For love does not arrive by schedule, and sorrow keeps no appointment. Do not ask, how much time do I have? Ask, how much of myself have I given? You fear the passing of years, but forget, eternity visits you each time you are fully present. There are those who live 100 years, and there are those who live 100 years and never touch the soul of a single moment. There are those who live a single hour that holds the whole sky. Time is not your master. It's not your mirror. It reveals not what is slipping. It reveals not what is slipping away, but what you have yet to behold. I thought that was very, I like those metaphors in there.
Yeah.
Very profound poem.
Yeah.
Did you guys spot the classic Gibran
That was
opening there? The
that
Prophet?
that was Gibran-esque. That was
Yes, exactly.
a model for this poem, because
Absolutely.
in the Prophet, they asked the Prophet and Gibran wrote, and the Prophet said, and the Prophet said. Here we have Jamil saying, and the scholar said. I noted that, Jamil. You can't hide that.
No, but it is modeled on his style.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, you can use that. Like if you wish, let me say the Beatitudes. I can write a poem using the Beatitudes as my model, you know. Instead of saying blessed, I could say praise that those who attend poetry and prose every fortnight Sunday. Praise are those who listen to Jamil, you know. Yeah, so that's the thing about having models, having work, having reading. When you read widely, you see these things, and you can use them as a model. I remember using Charles Dickens' novel. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times, for a valedictory speech. When we were doing the valedictory speech, it was the best of times, and so on, and we talked about some of the things in Pleasantville. It was the worst of, there were two of them on stage. So one would say it was the best of times and talk about the best, and the other speaker would say it was the worst of times, and they matched that. That was the opening part. So I used that. And well, Dickens can't take me to court for using that, and other people can't complain. But when I think people have talked about that. You see, the English literature, and not only English literature, if you read other forms of literature, it's available to you, you know, to use. Of course, You have to, there's a limit, right? There's a limit to as with everything, as with music, as with literature.
Thanks, Krishna. Thanks. Now let's move on to Natasha.
Hi.
Hello. Go right
Yes, it's
ahead.
nice to see Natasha.
Hello.
Glad to be here. I really, really like this piece. Let's hope I do it justice. She became the prey. She stepped into the twilight, and the twilight bent at her passing. I was a man of echoes and assault. Her voice was the first sound that forgave me. Silence gathered between us like ripe fruit, heavy, fragrant, waiting to fall. Even the wind forgot its name and leaned in close to listen. Her hands moved with the grammar of mercy. Her eyes held the patience of the sea. In their dark light, the world confessed its hunger to be whole. Time loosened its hold. The horizon leaned nearer, and I heard the earth breathing beneath our feet. Slow and active, like something remembering love. When she touched me, I became the flame without a name, a prayer returning to its source. There was no sin, no pardon, only truth of being alive in the radiance of another soul, the truth that burns and blesses. That's the end of it. Thank you for allowing me to read it, sir. I
Thank you
enjoyed
so much.
Thank you, Natasha. Very well read. You know, the poem itself is like a prayer. Any other comments?
There was a line that I truly, truly loved and was looking forward to reading, is that the silence gathered between us like ripe fruit, heavy and fragrant, waiting to fall. Watch me. That was just like juicy to me. And in as much as silence can be heavy and oppressive, it gave a kind of lightness to it, which I really, really appreciate. So thank you for putting those words to paper.
Just before that line, you read something about the sun, the sunlight.
The twilight. She
The what?
stepped into the twilight, and the twilight bent at her passing because the sunlight was after. But that also was lovely because it kind of gave an idea of how this poem is going to go. And she is such a force of nature that the twilight bent at her passing. Yeah, that's deep,
Yeah.
sis. Deep. I loved it.
I think the bent, give you a sense of the transition that twilight is. But I also want to talk about the fruit, and when your mango tree is overladen, so you get the impression there like that it's overladen and it's sweet and it's available. Just wanted to say that.
So, Jamir, you write so eloquently about love in various poems that I've read of yours. And I'm thinking, who's this lucky lady that you're always so in love with? So, who's your muse for this poetry? Is it
If you
somebody?
want me to, if you want me to answer, I will.
Well, I was just wondering, but I mean, you
But
don't
okay,
have
okay,
to.
okay. No, I'll answer. I'm amongst friends. No, I've been married now. I'm married quite young for 40 years. Same wife. So I draw a lot of inspiration from over the years and interaction with 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 my wife. So a great part of it is inspired by her, And some, as Motilal would know, from people from the past as well. I think, and then I listen sometimes to people's stories and their experiences, and I sort of put myself in their place now. But most of it is originally back to the wife.
Well, that's good. Good to know. Well, it's just that when I read your poetry, I kind of get a little bit jealous, because I'm thinking, wow, wouldn't it be nice to be loved like that? So I guess that's where that question came from.
So that
Frank,
you
why
would
are
have
you
read.
smiling like that, Frank?
Cassie isn't here, so if anyone wants to read Cassie's piece, I can email it. If not, I'll read it.
Okay, sure, go ahead, Gershia, because yeah, I don't have a copy.
I can email it to you. Okay,
Well, that's okay because I would have to go downstairs
Okay.
to access it. Yeah.
Sure. It's called A Prayer for the Dawn of Peace. O thou who dwellest in the heart's deep silence, where the river of life flows unbroken through the ages, awaken us from this shadowed night of strife. Let peace descend like rain on the thirsting earth. The fields where golden wheat once swayed in wind, now crimson streams carve sorrow through the soil. Brother against brother, thunder's rage resounds, children's laughter silence, swallowed by the void. O Spirit infinite, why must youth's tender bloom be crushed beneath the chariot wheels of wrath? Across ancient hills where olives whispered peace, bombs shattered skies, homes fall like weary stars. Mothers weep for sons consumed in hatred's fire. Cedars bow in grief, their branches heavy with tears. When shall the dove return with olive's healing leaf? In vast savannas where the lions roam, unbound, fires of conflict devour the humble. Hearth sands drink the blood of wandering souls. Forests hide the orphan's cries in endless night. O painter of the sunset's golden grace, why drown the cradle's song with war's harsh drum? On borders where rivers once embraced kin, now thorny veils divide with echoes of old pain. Mountains tremble under the shadow of proud threats. Winds carry whispers of discord across the heights. In azure seas, storms brew between distant shores, humanity chained in cycles of ancient feud. Through shadowed halls of time, empires rise and fall. Wars swarm upon the fields, devouring earth. Millions vanish in the blaze, their voices stilled, yet still we forge the sword from hoarded gold, while children stretch frail hands in hunger's grip on the skies, unheeding of their silent woe. O light of compassion, how long shall death be fed, when bread could nourish all and love rebuild? Awaken, O souls entwined in life's great web, cast off the shrouds of greed, of fear, of creed. See the stranger as self, the foe as kindred, mirror, for each heart beats to the universal song. Let nations, flowers, lotuses in harmony's pond, diversity, yet one in thy boundless garden's grace. Grant us strength to lay down arms, to heal the scars, sow seeds of peace where hatred's thorns have grown. Let children laugh beneath an endless sky. Humanity rise, hand in hand, to love's new dawn. O thou, the peace within the storm's wild heart, lead us to that shore where dawn returns forever. And that's it. Thank you for allowing me to read.
Thank you, Gersha. Beautifully read. Thank you. Now the floor is open to more comments. I noticed that Althea made a comment in the chat about the imagery in all the poetry and how beautiful it is. Althea, did you want to expand on that?
Let's see. Well, in the poem that I read, The Song of Arrival, I found that there some lines that in themselves, the imagery is very powerful and moving. And one of the lines, there's signs of a true romantic, I guess. You are the steady sea that at last touched my shore. And it's a line that I love very much. Well, I guess I'm a romantic too, but I like what it says and how it makes me feel. I would like to be the recipient, the recipient of that. You are the steady sea that touched my shore. I'd love someone to tell me that line. And it pays a very strong compliment and admiration for the recipient of that line. So
I guess that's what I
bless
was
her.
I was trying to say that myself in my last comment, but yeah, you wish that you were the loved one, so to get a line like that. That's true. I agree
Yeah.
with you there. Yeah, you echoed what I was thinking.
Maybe there are other favorite lines that other readers would like to talk about in the piece that they read, particular lines that touched them.
Yes.
I think Leslie Ann, was it Leslie Ann, that when she mentioned a particular line. Unfortunately, we don't have copies of the poem, of all the poems, otherwise we could underline some of our favorite lines that would be interesting topics of discussion.
I have the poem, so if you know of a particular one, I could post it in chat.
Can I say something, Gush?
Sure. Go ahead.
Oh, Heather, sorry, Heather is the host. Heather? Yeah, so just what Althea is saying, and maybe there are others who could talk about it. I want to congratulate our author of the month, Jamil, for his use of figurative language in his poems. I will ask a question after. Like in the piece that Cynthia read, he has the headlines, but the headlines are kites cut loose. Lovely, lovely metaphor. And they build their towers with our overtime. They build their towers with our overtime. Again, and they wall their gardens with our afternoons. Those are powerful, powerful words put together, to form these images. They build their towers with our overtime, wall their gardens with our afternoons. And the piece that Vishnu read, fold my grief like laundry. Nice image. Fold my grief like laundry. And then you have another line, the alphabet of a dying tongue. So you're putting together of words to form these images is to be congratulated. So, right. So the question I want to ask now is,
Yeah.
okay, two questions. One, the first one is the piece that Cynthia read and the piece that I read are very topical pieces relating to history and so. The pieces and the piece that Vishnu read also, right? Vishnu read about it was set in, that setting was in Palestine. Good. The letter from Isabella. Those three pieces, to me, you know, as a poet, they stand out. I would put those three, and then the other. I would look now for the other, for you writing more like this, to put together a collection with these in a section. They could form a section. I could see these forming a section, and then the rest now that others read. I talked about that, the use of religious imagery. So you have hymn appearing in some, you have prayer appearing not just in the title, a prayer for the dawn of peace. She became the prayer. Okay. So you have those. The poem that Althea read, I noticed he used images of nature. You have the sea, the sun, winds, harbor, seashore, and so nautical imagery.
Right.
I'm seeing that. So yes, you see prayer, you see faith, you see kneeling. In some, I noted those temples, gospel, covenant. So the question to you now is, can you tell us what is prompting all this religious imagery into your poems?
Well, to clarify your first thought, I do have a lot of similar items to group together, right? The thing is with Motilal, he had asked that I sent some different styles and themes and stuff.
Yes, yes. Oh, I noticed
right?
that. So Motilal, just now, and let me interrupt you. Motilal did send that piece to Cassie. Cassie would have loved that piece that Kersha read.
Yeah.
And you see how I'm looking for her name, Natasha, enjoyed her piece, right? And Dogla Essence would enjoy her piece too. So Moti was instrumental in, and of course, I enjoyed my piece totally. If Moti had sent me another piece, I might have asked him, Moti, send me something that I would enjoy, you know? Okay, I just saying that.
So Krishna, then to answer the religious thing, what happened is I've been surrounded by all various religions in my life, right? Growing up, Muslim father, Hindu mother. I became the president of the Hindu Society in school. Then everybody got baptized and became Presbyterians. So I would have been bombarded. I would have spent time studying the Bible, etc., reading the Gita, some aspects of the Quran, etc. So I find those things almost subconsciously, floating in to some thoughts when I do particular bits and pieces of writing. So that's how that came about, all those different the religious symbolism and references.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Sure. Guys,
Heather,
do you all want
Heather, I
to
leave
know?
your floor open. Heather, I leave your floor.
Yeah, Heather, I know Krishna had
Thank you.
asked. Sorry, Heather, sorry I interrupted you. I know Krishna had asked to see my words, the uncontaminated Jameer, in terms of night moon love. So
Yes,
if you
yes.
can find the time and the
We
rest
have
of
the
guys
time.
are not think I could go ahead and do one that I really like.
Sure, go right ahead.
All right, so this is from Night Moon Love, and it's titled Our Love Must Endure. The day I die, I want your hand on my forehead. I want the warmth of your touch to infuse love into me once more. I want to feel the tenderness that defined my destiny. I want you to live while I wait for you in sleep. I want your air to be filled with the song of my island. I want you to feel the gentle kiss of my ocean. I want you to hold on to your dreams, our dreams. I want what I love with all my heart to continue to live. And the woman whom I love and adore above everything else to continue to flourish, to bloom as a lavender rose. You must realize everything our love has sanctioned, so that my memory may forever travel in your heart, so that every rock and tree and living creature may know of the love we will forever share. Long time haven't looked at that. Krishna,
Yeah, but
interested in your
that is not
comments?
not that dissimilar from some of the things people read today. So
Well,
it's not a big gap.
no,
Okay.
for me it is, right, in terms of my own feelings, but I understand what you mean. Perception is in the eye of the beholder.
Okay.
Mhm.
Where can I find that poem? I would love to have a copy.
I can send you it.
I would love that. Thank you.
All
And
right.
I'll tell you why too when you send it.
If I could say my thoughts on what Krishna just said, I agree with Krishna because that poem is there's not such a big gap as Krishna said between that poem and the one I forget who read it, the woman who remade the sea.
Right.
Yeah, you know, it's still that
The flavor,
the-
the genre, and all of those things. But to me, it has a completely take on it at that stage in my life. But I accept that, right? And now looking at through this there, and they are all, well, this is all love poems, eh? This book. That's why Krishna, you'll see it. Night Moon Love is very appropriate because there's lots of reference to moon and
Yes,
control of tides and all those
no
things. So
problem.
this fits the title.
Yes, I have no problem with that.
Yeah, nah. But thanks so much. But you guys are right if I look at it objectively. But to me, it is different, right? But nonetheless, I hope you guys enjoyed it. That's the important thing.
so that first book
Yes,
is
we did.
available on Amazon, isn't it?
Yeah.
Jamir? Yes, yes. I thought I saw it there. Yeah. And then you have something else there too. There are two books.
Yeah. That the other one I wrote, it's the cover is different from the one on Amazon. It says one a day. Life's gem, 366 original quotes to inspire and motivate. And why I wrote that, guys, there was this big flood in 2018, a devastating flood. That whole Greenvale community and so on up there. And I wrote this to raise some money, right, for the people in that area. So it has these nice little pictures of nature at the top of each page, and then it follows a series. As I said, it ends up with 365 original quotes, right? And that was just to help the situation out there.
So you'll have to are you looking forward to publishing more books on Amazon so that it can reach like a wider audience, Jameer?
Yeah, actually, as I said, I have about 50 books, or between 50 and 60 books, all kinds of topics. They are short stories, some are novels, some are very technical matter, like the gut microbiome and eating properly with it. I have like in teaching religion to the students universally. Now, I want to donate that to the Ministry of Education to try and, help with building some harmony through religion and stuff, right? As I said, I have a significant, like an AI Bible text that is already finished too. I just have to ensure that it's polished, right? I have like how to deal with teenagers, parents and teenagers, trying to give them tools and, how they communicate on difficult subjects and issues and so on. So the thing is, and I need to ask for some assistance here with you guys, right? Here's the thing I find I keep doing. I love to create content so much. I think I mentioned this to Heather, but I also like to handle every aspect of quality, like ensure I do the graphics and the color, the not the color, the design, including the color palettes for covers and so on, right? All of the keyword things and everything. But I love creation of content so much that I tend to keep on going, book after book after book, and don't slow down to finalize anything. I know the thing is to get a resource or resources, but it's very difficult to entrust creation to people, and then they go edit, they do stuff, and it's nothing at all like you intended. How do you guys deal with that?
Not very well.
That you could say a little more, Heather.
Well, yeah, I ran into problems with, I had two different publishers at one point, ran into differences of opinion with both of them. Didn't really confront them about it. I just kind of slunk away. And then my husband taught himself how to do the uploading. And so at least with him, I can tell him what I want and he'll do it. So I could boss him around a little bit better.
Understand.
So yeah, but I also like to have a say in every aspect as well, covers, color, everything. So
Yeah.
I'm with you on that one. When you have a book and you want to have a polished, finished product, I mean, it represents who you are. So sometimes you don't appreciate input from other people. So
No, no, but
I kind of
yeah.
identify with you.
I think that, but there is where my block comes in to finalize and finish. So appreciate that. Anyone else has any insight, advice, suggestions, comments on this, please?
Well, you're supposed to have an editor. You're supposed to have an editor who will help you.
Yeah. I usually I belong to a writers group. And so anything I write, I take to a writer's workshop and I get feedback from my group. I'm not as prolific as you and Heather. At first I published a book like every 10 years. And now the last 3 books, the last 2 maybe within 5 years. And well, I write poetry and short stories, and I like to include work that has already published in different anthologies in my book. So I like to build up that. So in my acknowledgement, I have a lot of poems that I acknowledge, or I'm trying to work on a short story collection, but between I'm looking after my husband who has frontal lobe dementia and looking after my grandson. So I have all of these distractions, and I'm also teaching online or sometimes in the classroom. So you really need to have the free time to focus and maybe get an editor. You
Right.
have to pay them. It costs over $1,000,
Right.
maybe 1,500 to pay, get an editor to look at your work objectively if you're
Right.
willing to pay for that.
Right. Can I share with you a story? The same night, Moon Love, right? When I did it, I was looking online to get an editor. I was so happy that I found an editor somewhere right here in Siparia, somewhere down that area. So I took the thing to them, right, on a flash drive. So I waited 2 weeks, anxious to drive down and pick it up. When I got it back, I was in a really bad mood. They had messed up everything, right? Everything. And I had to go back and redo this myself. So a little bit gun shy, but I understand the importance of the editor. And I think what happened is a little bit of the ego gets in my way too. I tell myself I know I could do everything, and in that way I'll be able to control quality. But then that creates the backlog by not finalizing anything. All the material is there. I also have all the cover designs and all the concepts and everything, which I can pass over to somebody. But I think it's the ego thing a bit that, I keep holding on to it. So I say, look, let me try harder. So I finished that one about, well, two, the AI and the one about this guy who made his millions by his books, by, showing the spotlight and criticizing AI unduly too. So I'm on the other side of the argument there, the AI side, where there's no way, in my respectful view, AI can take over the world. And AI doesn't have any autonomy. Everything is programmed by algorithms and so on. So that one I kind of finish, and the other AI one. But I really want to publish some of the poetries, because as I mentioned to Krishna, like I would have like entire volumes that will fit particular styles, etc. And it's just a question now of putting them together, finalizing, and actually doing the covers and so on for them. But I have conceptual designs already. So, but I really appreciate the echoing of experiences, because I guess a lot of people tend to have the similar type things now, holding on and trying to do everything.
I could tell you some stories from other authors, especially locally, where just from doing poetry and prose, we've been approached because people have had really bad experiences. One person promised to get someone published, and they gave them $10,000, never got them published, never even got back all of their original work. And this person was just handwriting work.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think the importance of getting someone you trust. And like Heather said, do not be afraid to walk away. And you have to really assert yourself, know what you want from your project, what your voice is, what you're trying to get across. And if you don't agree, being able to have a space where you could say you don't agree. And I think that works both on the author and on the editor, because both persons have to create that safe space where they could disagree. But yeah, I don't know if Krishna wants to share his experience with editing, both on the editor side and the author side.
Well, I was going to say that Krishna was a very good editor for our anthology, Musings in a Tea Shop. That was one of the best polished books that I've been able to see lately, you know, so all put together very well with Cynthia as a proofreader and Krishna as an editor. So that was very well put together and
I
worked
find
well.
when you go online, I don't know if you experience this, Pat, you just see so many writers are claiming to be editors. You know, it's almost like a side gig where it's supplemental for them. And I've checked out a couple people on I think it's Fiverr, one of those sites where you could just pay someone to do something for you. And I wasn't impressed. I felt it was a bit elementary. So I didn't really get in depth. And there are different types of editors as well. So there's editors that would take it line by line and actually go through your work with you. And then there are editors that would just give you an overview. So it depends on, you know, what type of editor they are as well. What about you, Frank? Because I know you've published as well.
You're muted, Frank. Just unmute, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. At first, I went online here and was introduced to some professional editors. There was one lady who did my first book, and I was quite happy with the result. Mind you, I'm just a novice, so whatever she told me, I decided to accept. I thought she knew better than I did. And then the second book was with the same editor that Heather had. And I thought he did well by me. His rates were a lot less than the other editor I had, whom I hadn't met before. And so in my brief encounter with editors, just those two people I've had contact with. I mean, I'm still learning, so you know, I really look for criticism and any way by which to help my work. There's this one book I'm working on right now, which, as I said, is a non-fiction. And I was writing it for lay people as well as professionals. And so I sort of reduced a lot of the technical details down to simple English. And after he read the manuscript, he said to me, you know, this will fly over the head of most lay people, which I felt a little badly about because I was deliberately simplifying a lot of concepts. So he suggested, which I think is a good idea, he suggested after we get this book published, to write a novel about, a very simple novel about the same topic for lay people. And the way I thought I'd do it is write it about somebody who has that medical problem and how they fare in life and what sort of approaches in therapy did they experience. So I thought that's what I would do after this one is published.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, well, I can tell you about my experience. I paid someone to edit my first book, a novel. And when the person sent it back to me, I had to edit it. I sent it back to the person. They sent it back to me. I had to edit it again. And I am paying for this. So I stopped sending works to editors.
Right. But Krishna, do you still engage in that as a part-time thing or something?
No,
Professional editing?
right now I'm retired and I just relaxing. And I help a couple folks. It's free, pro bono. But but I also have my work to see about too.
Right.
So I don't want to be overwhelmed with other people's works. Okay.
Understand.
Any other comments from anyone? We're reaching the close of our meeting, which was very insightful, very fruitful. Thank you so much, Jameer, for all your work. And we're looking forward to the next books that you're putting out.
Yeah.
Please
Could
let
I
us
just
know.
sorry, could I just take the opportunity for me in closing to thank everyone? I think you guys did excellent reading. It gave me an opportunity to sit back and reflect. And also, thanks to Vishnu there for all those difficult questions. I enjoyed them. But so overall, I want to thank the group and especially Motilal. Motilal is an old alma mater of mine. He was a little bit ahead of me in ModSec, and I was very pleased to have met him. And understand that he was an author and so on. So thanks so much, everyone. And I hope not to disappoint you guys in the future with those books, which I definitely tell to get a couple of them out before the end of the year. I've taken a lot of inspiration from you guys. Thank you so
You're most
very, very
welcome.
much.
You're most welcome.
Well,
Thank you, Jameer.
I found personally this group really helped me to find my own voice. As Krishna said in a previous meeting, we are a very supportive and productive group, and you'll
Right.
find that with us. So yeah, we urge each other on in their endeavors, and that's what's really nice about this group. So glad you're able to join us. Frank, we're looking forward to your book next. Are you close to publishing at all?
No, but maybe in the next few months.
Yeah.
Maybe next time we have a open reading, I can read a few excerpts.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll have an open reading before the end of the year.
Yeah.
Frank, you need to edit months, say days.
Yeah.
Thank you all for joining us.
I think Althea wants to say something.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah, I just wanted to ask any plans for another poetry and prose collection?
Oh, you mean
Yes,
anthology?
we do. We wanted to do we wanted to do a themed collection. Muti and I had discussed it, but not this year. Probably that may be a 2026 project.
Do you have any idea like what the theme or themes are going to be?
I wanted to do something Diwali because I feel like we have so many Christmas stories and Christmas books, and every time I have to find poetry for Diwali, I get a lot of poems from children, teens or whatever they have to do for school. But in terms of finding actual collections, so I wanted to bring something to the space that would fill that void.
Okay. Interesting. Well, we'll all have to look forward to now. This is we have another.
I'll also ask Mutilal to jump in on this.
Sure, go ahead.
Muti, you want to say anything about an upcoming collection anthology?
I, I, I have to think about that and probably look at a team. And I don't know if we say Diwali alone. I suppose that we mightn't get all of our members. So I'll have a look at
Yeah.
that.
But
Sorry, I just
we
stepped
could
out.
do both because I mean, but the
Yes.
Diwali theme is important to
I had to step out a little bit. My granddaughter come here and she wanted my attention.
nice.
So
Yeah.
okay. One other thing too for the people who in
Wait, why don't let
Trinidad.
me close off, please? I want because
Okay.
we're still being recorded, so I'm gonna go ahead and close the meeting. Thank you
Okay, please.
everyone for attending Poetry and Prose. Please hang on because Mutilal also have an announcement. I just wanna not have this online.